Good morning, good day, good evening. This is YieldMax Mindset YouTube channel coming to bringing you YieldMax, RoundHill, and Kurv for week 1 of December. All right, so these distribution, most of these will pay out on Thursday. Let's get to it. All right, so we have Rex Shares, Defiance, Neo's Funds, and Kurv Invest, RoundHill Investment, Granite Shares, Pro Shares, YieldMax ETF, and Big Wise as other ETFs funds that you may seek out to seek your investment strategy. All right, so these prices are going to vary each month, each week. If you should happen to own some of the above ETF, here's a roundabout payout you should receive. Below is what you would get paid out for owning the number of shares multiplied by the price per share. First up is our new YieldMax Target 25 MSST, a weekly pair. Closed yesterday at 46.39. Closed yesterday at 44.97. Previously closed at 46.39. So had you invested $2,319 into this fund, that would have gotten you 50 shares, and 50 shares would have gotten you a payment of $11.16. Next, we have NVIT. Closed yesterday at 49.19. Previously closed at 48.62. All right, so had you invested $2,431 into this position, that would have gotten you 50 shares, and 50 shares would have gotten you a payment of $11.16. Next, we have our third weekly Target 5 by YieldMax. Test is the test lead version. All right, closed yesterday at 52.91. Previously closed at 52.93. So had you invested $2,646.50 into this position, that would have gotten you 50 shares, and 50 shares would have gotten you $12.72. All right. Next, we have our normal group 1 of YieldMax, starting with CHPY. Closed yesterday at 56.15. Previously closed at 54.89. Previously paid out 44 cents, currently paying out 44 cents. So had you invested $5,489 into this position, that would have gotten you 100 shares, and 100 shares would have gotten you a payment of $43.47. Next, we have Feet. Closed yesterday at 27.22. Previously closed at 26.62. Previously paid out 37 cents. Currently paying out 32 cents. So had you invested $13,310 into this position, that would have gotten you 500 shares, and 500 shares would have gotten you a payment of $160.25. Next, we got Fivey. Closed yesterday at 32.60. Previously closed at 31.40. Previously paid out 26 cents. Currently paying out 22 cents. So had you invested $31,400 into this position, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares, and 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $221.10. All right. Next, we got GPTY. Closed yesterday at 44.21. Previously closed at 43.27. Previously paid out 31 cents. Currently paying 30 cents. All right. So had you invested $43,270 to this position, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares, and 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $299.7. All right, next we got LFGY. Closed yesterday at 27.87. Previously closed at 27.74. Previously paid out 37 cents. Currently paying out 35 cents. So had you invest $55,480 into this position, that would have gotten you 2,000 shares, and 2,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $699.60. Next, we have QDTY. Closed yesterday at 44.51. Previously closed at 43.85. Previously paid out 42 cents. Currently paying out 28 cents. All right, so had you invested $87,700 into this position, that would have gotten you 2,000 shares. 2,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $559. Next, we got RDTY. Closed yesterday at 40.48. Previously closed at 40.40. Previously paid out 49 cents. Currently paying out 32 cents. All right. So I had you invested $80,800 into this position, that would have gotten you 2,000 shares, and 2,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $646.80. Next, we have SDTY, closed yesterday at 45.01, previously closed at 44.79, previously paid out 34 cents, currently paying out 20 cents. All right, so had you invested $223,950 into this position, that would have gotten you 5,000 shares. 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $1,016. Next, we have SLTY, closed yesterday at 36.75, previously closed at 38.42, previously paid out 57 cents, currently paying out 43 cents. All right, so had you invested $192,100 into this position, they would have gotten you 5,000 shares, and 5,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $2,132.50. Next, we have ULTY, closed yesterday at 39.56, previously closed, uh, that's wrong on the previous close. Sorry about that. All right, let me double check here, see where we at, because I did something wrong there. All right, it's ULTY. All right. Oh, it did the reverse split. That's why. All right. So it closed yesterday at 39.56. Its previously dollar amount was around $4.02. All right. All right. So it paid the distribution ain't right, man. What I did here, folks. All right, so all that is correct. I forgot about the reverse split, so it actually changed the dividend amount too. All right, but I'm glad I got the previous price of 402, so that is correct. Everything is correct. My apologies. All right. Next we have YMAG, closed yesterday at 14.64, previously closed at 14.57, previously paid out 12 cents, currently paying out 10 cents. All right. So had you invested $728.50 into this position, that would have gotten you 50 shares, and 50 shares would have gotten you $4.87. Next, we have YMax, closed at 10.60, previously closed at 10.45, previously paid out 10 cents, currently paying out 10 cents. All right, so had you invested $1,045 into this position, that would have gotten you 100 shares, and 100 shares would have gotten you a payment of $9.64. All right. Next, we have RoundHill Weekly ETF, BYTC, closed at 30.19, previously closed at 31.30, previously paid out 23 cents, currently paying out 20 cents. All right. So had you invested $15,650 into this position, that would have gotten you 500 shares. 500 shares would have gotten you a payment of $99.24. Next, we have Yeet of RoundHill, closed yesterday at 16.37, previously closed at 17.35, previously paid out 23 cents, currently paying out 19 cents. All right, so had you invested 17,350 into this position, so it would have gotten you 1,000 shares. 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $186.28. Next, we have WePay, closed yesterday at 46.70, previously closed at 46.25, previously paid out 45 cents, currently paying out 35 cents. Had you invested $46,250 into this position, it would have gotten you 1,000 shares, and 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $349.32. All right, next we have RoundHill Week. If you don't want a position that doesn't lose any now, week is that position. All right. Closed yesterday at $100.06. Previously closed at $100.07. Previously paid out 0.07121. Currently paying out 0.070549. All right. So had you invested $50,035 into that position, that would have gotten you 500 shares. 500 shares would have gotten you a payment of $35.27. Next, we have Kurv ETF, KYLD for week one. Previously closed at 22.87, and yes, previously closed yesterday at 22.87. I'm waking up here, people. Previously closed at 22.29. Previously paid out 165. Currently paying out 165. So had you invested $22,290 into this position, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares. 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of 165. Next, we have Kurv KGLY monthly ETF, closed yesterday at 30.19. Previously closed at 28.68. Previously paid out 30 cents. Currently paying out 30 cents. All right. So had you invested $28,610 into that position, it would have gotten you 1,000 shares. 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $300. Next, we have Kurv TSLY, monthly ETF, closed yesterday at $23.90, previously closed at $32.85, previously paid out 50 cents, currently paying out 50 cents. All right, had you invested $32,840 into that position, that would have gotten you 1,000 shares, and 1,000 shares would have gotten you a payment of $500. All right, this is YieldMax Mindset, bringing to you YieldMax ETF weekly positions and bringing you the new target 25, bringing you the RoundHill ETF weekly position, and concluding with our Kurv ETF. All right, continue to get your passive income and find out what investment strategy works for you. This is YieldMax Mindset signing off. Till next time, people. I'm out.